What's up, guys? I'm Chris Johnson, and we're with our new show called Through the Lens. The reason why we call our show Through the Lens is because it's me and it's my co-host, which is The Voice. And we created this show to take a deeper dive into mental health, to mental fitness, mental resilience, anything that has to do with the mentality of being mentally tough. And that's why we have our show. So let's dive right into it.
So being mentally tough, let's go with mental timeouts, because you can't just keep going. You need to take a break. You need a timeout.
You gotta take a break.
So what does a mental timeout mean?
So a mental timeout is something that I took from the game of basketball. Mm-hmm. And in the game of basketball, there's so many different types of opportunity for the game to be stopped. And when a coach sees his team get scored on, the other team is going on a run, they call timeout. Mm-hmm. And what do you do in a timeout? You regroup, you reset, you refocus, you coach them, and you get them to come out of the timeout to be a better team. And then once you go on your run, the other coach calls a timeout.
Yeah.
And so I started looking at the importance of what a timeout is. And then I looked at mental plus the timeout.
Yeah.
And when I look at the mentality and a timeout, it lets me know that in life, us as everyday people, we need to learn how and when to call a timeout.
Yeah.
And timeouts are different. You have a 30-second timeout. You have full timeouts. You have a media timeout. You have a halftime. You have an injury timeout. You have an overtime timeout. You have a technical foul, which is like a timeout. You have a replay timeout. And so I just took those type of situations and I parallel and said, okay, in life, if me being a dad and I'm pulling up at home and I've had a rough day at work, I need to sit in the car 5 minutes and I need to take a mental timeout.
Yeah.
I need to be quiet. I need to practice my MVP, which is meditation, visualization, and positive self-talk to kind of channel my energy back.
Yeah. And
get prepared for what's going to happen inside of my household.
So that's like your 30-second timeout. That's equivalent in the game. So what would be your full timeout? When do you take full timeouts in your day?
So you want to try to catch it before your battery gets to yellow.
Yeah.
But when you get to yellow, you're kind of forced to take a full time out. You can feel it. You start feeling the anxiety. You start feeling the pressure of the world. And now with a full time out to me is anything more than 8 hours, but less than 24 hours.
Okay.
So you just got to turn it off. Maybe that's when you go to bed at night and you sleep. So for me, sometimes I could take a full time out. And I could go to bed, instead of going to bed at 12 and getting up at 4:45, I'll go to bed at 8:45. And I'll get a full 8 hours of sleep. And then I'll take a little bit more time when I wake up to regather my thoughts and get the time out. And that to me is what a full time out. And the people that are watching, they can adjust it and make it fit them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
what would be halftime? So halftimes are scheduled. Halftime's coming no matter what.
No matter what.
So when's your halftime?
Vacation. So halftime is going to be something more than a day. It's going to be 2 days or 3 days. So you may need 72 hours, which could be a weekend. You can weekend reset. You can weekend get away and go to a retreat. You can weekend go to some yoga sessions. And so 3 days will allow you really to pause. It allow you really to get yourself together, jot down concepts, ideas for you to execute, and it gives you a chance to really refocus the plan, focus your mindset, and to be able to come back fully to the program ready to go.
And how would you suggest that people find out what their best way to time out is?
I use a cell phone battery analogy.
Okay.
you know, when we got a cell phone, if you don't put your cell phone on the charger at night, when you wake up, your cell phone's going to be what?
Dead.
It's going to be dead. Anyone that has a car that's electric, if you don't charge the car,
you're not going anywhere.
You're not going nowhere. So I look at the mental timeout the same way we utilize our cell phone.
Yeah.
You have to be aware of when do you need to put yourself back on the charger. Now, our cell phone tells us when it gets to yellow, it's like, hey, 20%.
Yeah.
20%, that's all I got left. And when it's over, it's over.
Yeah.
Once it get to 10%, it goes what?
Red.
Goes red.
Yeah.
Red means emergency.
Yep.
We got to find a charger pretty soon.
But you're not doing as much as you were doing before.
It's only so long before we get to zero, and now we don't have access to that phone.
Yeah.
It's the same analogy of knowing when to call a mental timeout for yourself. You have to know where your battery is.
Yeah.
And this is a skill set that I teach, and I want to teach people this skill set of knowing when to call timeouts, when to know when their battery needs to be recharged. And the better you get at recognizing when you need a mental timeout, you're able to put yourself on the charger at a higher percentage, which requires you less time to recharge.
Yeah.
So I can be at 80%, I'm like, I'm going to put my phone on the charger.
Yeah.
And in 10 minutes, it's back at 100. That's the same thing with me. I'm like, oh, snap, I'm at like 80% right now. And, you know, like, I'm great. I can keep going, but I'm at 80.
Yeah.
So I need to, like, if I need a nap, if I need 5 minutes, if I need to practice my MVP, which is 5 minutes, I need to take yoga. I only need just a little bit to get that battery recharged.
Yeah.
And I think that is a skill that most people never learn and they never recognize that is necessary. So if you don't develop the skill, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
If you don't develop the skill, you run into burnout.
Yep. Anxiety
goes with the burnout.
Man.
Now you feel like the whole world is on your shoulder.
Yeah.
And when you look at someone who's like, yo, how you doing? It's like, man, I'm going through everything.
Yeah.
Their battery is low.
Yeah.
The mindset is low.
Because they keep just popping it on the charger for 2 minutes and then moving on and never past 10%.
Never pass. Have you ever been in a car with someone that they get in the car and their battery's on yellow?
Yep.
And when you get in the car and you take off and they say, hey, you got a charger? You're like, no, I don't have a charger. It's like, my battery's going to die. We'll be in the car an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And you're like, I can't do anything. I'm going to have to stop at a convenience store.
Yeah.
You got to start thinking about different ways to recharge that battery.
Yeah.
That's why I won't buy an electric car. Because I have an Uber driver pick me up to take me to the airport, and I was like, man, this is a nice. It was like the Mercedes, like electric. I'm like, this is nice. He was like, I waste 4 hours a day.
Just charging.
Just charging.
Oof.
Just charging. And I'm thinking like, wait, time is the only thing that we can't get back.
And it's not promised.
It's not promised. So if he's spending 4 hours a day charging at, let's say, 6 times a week, that's 24 hours that he lose at the charge station.
Yep.
That's bananas to me.
And that's even with that analogy, let's go into the fact, I know you, I know how crazy your schedule gets. It's unpredictable because there are days that we do this where we schedule this. Like we're going to be filming all day because you're going to be gone or meetings are coming up, whatever. So how do you navigate those timeouts? Because now you're on a 2-hour drive down to LA. You're stuck in traffic. Or you're coming up, you're going to film, you're about to have to really put out a lot of energy to talk to so many different people, so many different personalities. So that drains your battery. Because this is like going on Instagram, having all the apps open on your phone. It drains your battery.
It's a lot.
So how do you find like, okay, today I need yoga because we just talked about this. Yeah. We're wrapping up filming.
I'm like, I got to have yoga for
what
sure.
What differentiates I need yoga and then what differentiates I need 5 minutes in my car to myself?
It's a good one. If I'm about to go into a meeting, I like to always get there 30 minutes ahead of time. So I give myself a little window to either prep, to either just listen to some music, like soft music, something engaging to me. Maybe I'm listening to a great podcast in that 5 minutes, or maybe I'm just doing breathing, like I'm doing breath work.
Yeah.
And I will use that 5 minutes to reset me to get ready for the game or get ready for that meeting. And that has really helped me a lot. When I have a busy day and I'm not going to get any time for myself, I try to forecast this, and I try to go to do something that I want to do for me at 6 in the morning. I just make time, right? I'm like, if I go to yoga at 6, I get there 5:45, I get 1 hour to really like give back to my body, to give back to my mind, to sit quietly. I can't have a cell phone. I don't wear my Apple Watch in there. I totally disconnect from everyone. And this is a moment for me to be selfish.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of times when you need a mental timeout, you probably hadn't been selfish for yourself. And there's a time and place to be selfish. And that selfishness happens calling your own timeout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because the selfish part, it reminds me of people pleasing. When you have too much on your plate and you're trying to deliver on everything, you need that mental timeout. You need that moment to yourself, because it's like giving everybody your phone to use, and you haven't even used your phone. You haven't called. You haven't done it.
Back and it's dead.
They give it back to you 5%. Now you're in charge of getting a charger.
You see people like this all the time. You can see people totally drained.
Yeah.
Like when you talk to them, you're like, man, I'm just exhausted.
Yeah.
You're like, well, what'd you do? Well, I did this for this person. I did this for this person. My mom needed me to go do this. I didn't get to get my work done. I got a project to turn in. I got to go and do this. My kid got a game. Somebody got a flat tire. And they've given out all of the battery life.
Yep. To everything else.
If you don't recharge, then the battery on a phone does not work.
Yeah.
But us as human beings, we keep going.
Yeah.
And you're gonna laugh what I call this. I call this mental bricks. So my term is mental bricks, and mental bricks are there, but you can't see them.
Yeah.
So imagine me walking in a room with all the things that we just talked about going on in my head, on my shoulders. I could feel it, but you can't see it.
Yeah.
But they're there. These are mental bricks. You cannot see it, but it's there. And so when people don't call a mental timeout, they stack these mental bricks until they break down.
Yeah, the weight's too much.
It weighs too much. I have an analogy. If I give someone a stack of bricks to hold, how long can you hold it? And some people come back and say 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 before I start shaking. It's really strong people. And I was like, okay, I'll give you that. But you can't hold them for 24 hours. I said, no, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Well, imagine it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Storing mental bricks and holding on to them.
Yeah.
This is where depression come in at, anxiety,
imposter syndrome, doubt, everything.
Doubt, no faith. You feel run down. You can turn to drugs. You can turn to alcohol. You can turn to all types of abuse, because you don't have enough energy to fight back.
Yep.
And so that's what I call mental bricks.
And I think last year when I was navigating everything, I had that because I was on Celsius, every type of caffeine. Because I was like, I need to be up. I need to be active, because I set a standard for myself of bringing good energy into a room.
Right.
So if I didn't take a mental timeout, if I didn't sleep well, if I didn't take time for myself, I'm drained now.
Right.
But now I have an expectation of myself for others.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, everybody knows me to smile and come in with good energy. But now it's based off caffeine.
I got on you about that.
And that's why I changed this year.
I'm like, listen, I've noticed that you are not balanced in a way, because I don't believe in balance, but I don't like people using people in regards to their talent.
Yeah.
You can use them in a way that's beneficial for both, but you have to learn how to say no, because you feel like you got a skill set. Like you can fix things, you can build things, you can paint things. You're great behind the camera. That's why she's the voice, and you're great at the things that you do, and you have work ethic.
Yeah.
But if we take advantage of it and we use you, and we drain that battery, now it becomes a mental game.
Yep.
And now you can't perform at peak performance, which don't work for us because we want to put out the best product.
Yep. It doesn't work for anybody at that point. We're all suffering.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I saw, and I love what I get to do.
Yeah.
And I think everybody that doesn't take a mental timeout, it's you're going to see the things you love suffer before you see anything extra suffer.
Right.
Who cares about the extra stuff?
Right.
Okay, you can't go party because now you're busy, whatever it is. That doesn't matter. You see time with your kids suffer.
Yeah.
You see, because now you're anxious all the time and you have a short temper with them. That's your relationship that's suffering.
Timeouts are so important because you can't find a match, you can't find a game, any sport, where they don't call timeout.
Yeah.
When the other team goes on a run, the coach has to stop the team and regroup it.
Yeah.
In boxing, they have rings at the end of the quarter or whatever, the end of the round. They have the bell ring, and they go to their corner and regroup.
Good timeout, yeah.
And they get back up and they get in another 3 minutes of getting after it. Ding, ding, ding.
Yep.
Go to your corner. I go to my corner. I have my coaches. I have someone fixing me. I have someone putting ice on me, putting water on my neck.
All recovery.
It's all recovery.
Yeah.
For you to perform better. For everyday people to reach maximum performance.
Yep.
They must master this skill. I wrote an ebook called 10 Minutes to Win. And in 10 Minutes to Win, we're focused on mental timeouts. Yeah. So I put the ingredients in the ebook. So people that are watching this episode, you should go get the ebook, Mental Timeout. You go to justwin.com and you can pick it up for just $10 and study the ingredients that I've put together detail for detail for you to understand when. And I put some assessments in there that allow you to assess yourself to get a better understanding of when you should call timeouts for you. And I think the more education we have in it, the more we can help people grow, to become a better person, to become stronger mentally and not hold on to their mental bricks. Those mental bricks are there, and just because you don't see them don't mean that they're not there. It means that they're carrying it well. Yeah. But at some point it's going to get too heavy. Yeah. And if it gets too heavy, you will break down. Yep. You're going to have to get in that bed. You have to go to sleep. You have to get that battery recharged.
And you're still going to have to dig yourself out from under the bricks.
If you don't, you're going to either put yourself in such a bad situation that you're addicted, that you're taking some type of prescription medicine.
You're being fired.
You're being fired. You let go. You're getting divorced. You know, you just
suffering,
think about it.
And everything.
Yeah, it just suffocates you in a way. And I think mental timeouts are so important, and that's why we've kind of made the word mental timeout, because it's a mental thing and it's a break. Yeah. And whenever you look at the timeout, like my hat is the timeout. Yeah. And it's just taking that time for yourself. When we had a men's retreat at the beginning of this year, and the men's retreat title was called Timeout. And it was about 40 to 50 men that came together for one common goal, was to learn how to take mental timeouts and take care of themselves. From yoga, from small groups to large groups, to one-on-one, to having conversation, to building and learning from other successful individuals, to know when. You have to know when, and you gotta call the timeout. It's important in the game of life. It's important in any sport. And it's important for you to maintain proper battery life in your life. This has been another great episode of Through the Lens, baby. Through the Lens. My co-host, The Voice. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Turn on the post notifications. Drop comments. Let us know what topics we should share. Most of our topics come from the comments. So this show is designed to answer common questions, everyday questions from all of our social media where people drop comments and say, hey, how do I do this? This is our topic. And so you'll see our topics change, and it's all based on our comments and in our community that we've built here on Through the Lens.
Even going deeper into the same conversation. So if you have any questions about mental timeout, further questions about any past episodes, one-day contracts, everything.
We'll be here and we'll revisit that, and we want to educate, we want to equip and excel you, and we want to build community here on this platform. We out. Peace.